And welcome back, YouTube. I'm back to oversharing today. I I just had quite the moment. By the way, date and time, I should throw that out there. It's 7:50 p.m. Saturday, October 8th, 2022, and it's nice and cool out this evening for a change. And check the Obama phone for the weather widget. 78 degrees. Yeah, finally to the Phoenix weather that is the reason most of us that have lived here for an extended period of time live here. So I'm just walking over to Target. Just remembered there were a couple of things that I wanted to get when I went to the post office to get those boxes, and got distracted talking to the other eBayer. Yeah, I want to get some. There's a few things. It doesn't really matter. The most notable thing I want to get is I want to get a flash drive. Like, I know I have several flash drives, but at this point, I don't know where the hell they are. And I think the sizes on them all are pretty small compared to what the common sizes are for flash drives now. So I figured I just head on over to Target and walk, since the weather's so beautiful. Head on over to Target and see what size options they have and how expensive they are, and probably grab one while I'm there. So really enjoying using my TV. As I showed in the last video, what I thought was a screensaver was actually the movie that I was watching paused on it. So in most of my videos over the last week, I've been showing how, well, in several of my videos anyway, I've been showing how I am having issues with my TV, or had been having issues with my TV, constantly bringing up a spinny thing, and where it seemed like it was really struggling to function, and then eventually ending up at a pop-up telling me that I needed to verify it was me because it couldn't log into my Google account. Well, come to find out, I didn't need to. As I explained, I think in my last video or the video before it, come to find out I didn't. These towers of pallets just make me happy. I can't even explain why. How many pallets? Wow, they're mixing plastic pallets and wood pallets. That is something that we do not do at Amazon. I still got to get around to applying to work here. I feel like I'd be a lot happier at this point working here at this Costco as a forklift driver, stacking them pallets outside, than I am currently at Amazon. By the way, they're still screwing me around on getting recertified for forklift at Amazon, but at this point I've just come to the conclusion that the whole Amazon forklift certification is a fucking joke anyway. I mean, the bottom line is I know how to operate one, but Amazon is just doing what Amazon does, and that's the reason that they have such ridiculously high turnover. Well, I've kind of come to the conclusion that these little stacks of chip pallets here are here exclusively to prevent people from parking in these parking spots. Because Costco gets pretty darn busy, and I could see people parking there and then them being frustrated because they want to get in these storage containers and can't. Anyway, I sidetracked walking by Costco, realizing I still haven't put in my damn application there. I should do that. Well, I should do that. I should just do that, darn it. Still haven't set up my computer yet. I've been mostly just messing with my TV rather than trying to use it as a monitor for my computer, and then getting frustrated because it keeps giving the pop-up and stuff. Since I finally found the damn remote to the TV, I've been... Wow, somebody is barbecuing nearby, and it smells absolutely amazing. And since the kitchen isn't even open at Costco, it could be one of the restaurants in the strip mall, but I'm thinking it's probably somebody in the fourplexes on the other side of that big wall there. Once upon a time, I was going to move into one of those, and I was so disappointed when I didn't. But so much happier when when the guy that was going to be my landlord there, who is currently my landlord now, called me back and asked me if I was still looking for a place. Like, that guy was just kind of saved my life right then. As I had put everything into moving into that fourplex and turned down a lot of other potential places I could have moved into, because I thought I was going to have that, and then by the time that fell through, like, I was really down to the wire on time trying to find another place. Anyway, that's another story for another time that I feel like I've told on this vlog anyway before. So anyway, messing with the TV. So come to find out, the issue that I had of it wasn't even a matter of me not remembering or not, having messed up my Google password, but was rather an issue of that Priscilla, my girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, so-called girlfriend, whatever she is this week, that I booted out a couple months ago, for just turning my place into such an absurdly terrible mess. I had anyway, at some point I'd gotten really frustrated. She was using my TV all the time as if it was her own TV when it's not. And at some point she had put her Google account into my TV. So, and at some point, since I took the remote away from took the remote away and quit letting her use my TV, at which point she just started doing the same level of time wasting of, like, always watching TV instead of cleaning up her messes and doing girlfriend type stuff with me. She ended up just spending all that time just sitting on ass, but instead watching movies all the time on her laptop, which she would sit in the mess on my coffee table. Anyway, I had no idea she had put that in there. So that was part of the problem. But the other problem that my smart TV is having, which is a Sony Android TV, is that it is really out of space. Like, I forget what the numbers is and how much space the thing has, but it has a really small amount of memory. Keep in mind, it's a 2016 model, which used to be, so we're talking like a 5-year-old TV. Used to be a 5-year-old TV was not considered an old TV, but the way technology is moving these days, it's kind of showing its age, which I think is, in a way, it's a good thing. Mine is right from the tail end of passive 3D TVs, which is a technology that's not available in new TVs, and a technology that I really enjoy and use. So I not interested in new TV until that feature is something that comes back. Anyway, I'm going to explain more of what's going on with all this, but I need to get into oh wait, that's not I was thinking I was at Target. I'm at Burlington. Oh, alrighty then. I need to pay more attention to where the hell I am. Yeah, I've never gone into the store. Used to call it Burlington Coat Factory, which to me is just the concept of a place with coat in its name in Phoenix, Arizona is just absurd to me, because it's very, very rare in Phoenix that it ever gets warm enough that anybody would need a coat. Although granted, not everybody who lives in Phoenix stays in Phoenix all year long. I usually do, though. Not very often I have the luxury of leaving here. There's another cool store in this strip mall, and the sign is just looking all blurry, but Five Below. It's kind of like a dollar store, kind of like a $5 store. It's all a mixture of really cool candies and snacks, which is in that section where it says Sugar Rush, and then they got a big section that's like tech and clothes and fun stuff, but it's all mostly stuff from China. I don't know. I find fun stuff in there. I actually got to make an effort not to go into the store, because I'll end up pissing a bunch of money away on stuff, super inexpensive stuff that I really don't need. And Spirit Halloween is back once again here in the location where I think Anna's Fabrics used to be. And I'm not spending any money on Halloween stuff this year. Don't know if I'll even consider doing a costume. I haven't even looked to see where Halloween lands on the calendar and whether it's going to be a night. If I'm doing a karaoke show that night, I'll definitely do something for a costume for myself. But yeah, I've got shit I can make into a costume. I'm not going to spend any money on it. Anyway, going in here, I'm at Target. I'm not sure what time it closes, but it's almost 8 o'clock, so I'll pause this for now and explain more what was going on with my TV as soon as I leave here. Well, that was a fun trip to Target. Let's see, what time is it? It's 8:19 p.m. So yeah, it didn't take too much time handling that. I was gonna walk on up through the shopping center to Fry's and get a loaf of bread and some lunch meat and some cheese and stuff, but I actually got a loaf of bread at Target for a little bit less, actually quite a bit less than I paid for my last loaf of bread over at Fry's. So all out of meat, and well, I've got some cheese that I could slice. I'm not even sure if it's still good. I should really get off my ass and slice the cheese, although I'm not sure that I have a cutting board. That could be an issue. Oh, it's a poor shopping cart stuck sideways on the ground. I wonder what's up with that. That's odd. Anyway, yeah, I really should get some more lunch meat, but I don't feel like dealing with the crowds at Fry's right now or walking any farther. Kind of eager to go home and make use of that flash drive. So it's been so long since I bought a flash drive. I just had no idea like what the going prices were and going sizes were, because that's one of those things that they just keep getting bigger and faster and cheaper as technology moves forward. I remember the first flash drive that I bought. I want to say the thing was probably 32 megs. No, not gigs, but megs, 32 megabytes, which seemed like a lot of space at the time. And I probably spent like $30 on the damn thing. And it was a really big deal at the time that I could hold, so much stuff and something so portable. And keep in mind, at that time, people were still using floppy disks, which was only 1.44 megs. So yeah, something that's smaller and more transportable that held 32 megs. Actually, it might have been 16 megs. That was a long time ago. But yeah, I do think I bought the thing online. It was like $32, and it just seemed like a really great deal back then. So anyway, fast forward, 18 years or whatever now since I purchased that one, and maybe more like 17 years. But anyway, I noticed that one of the things that makes the difference is not the size as much as the speed. There's ones that just use USB 2.0 and ones that use USB 3.0. I don't even know if any of my computers or any of my gear is advanced enough to use the USB 3.0. At any rate, for everything I do, USB 2.0 is plenty fast enough, and those ones are exceptionally cheaper than the ones that use USB 3.0. And I was able to get a Memorex branded one, so probably not as reliable as SanDisk, but whatever. I mean, I've used SanDisk ones, and I've used absolute generic ones, and then I've used ones that are not generics but not exactly top brands, which is basically what I got getting a Memorex. And for the most part, I've found them all to be equally reliable. In fact, I don't think I've ever had a flash drive die on me from anything other than me like straight up physically sitting on it and busting it in half. But I don't think I've ever had one die just simply from use. So on that note, yeah, I got the Memorex USB 2.0. It was the cheapest. It was a little bit less than $20 for 128 gigs. So it's crazy how much more you get for less with flash drives than, say 15 years ago. So yeah, that should be more than enough space. I'm trying to think how much RAM, like how much space is available on my TV, and I want to say it's something like really pathetic, like 8 gigs. 8 or 9 gigs, something just absurdly small, especially when one considers how big apps are these days. So, forget about storing your media files on there. So anyway, that's what I was trying to explain before I get sidetracked by pallets and walking by Costco and pondering how much happier I'd probably be working at Costco than Amazon. If for no other reason than I wouldn't be spending so much time commuting to work and wouldn't be spending so much money. Hey, there's somebody on the forklift. Nice. Wouldn't be spending so much money on gas. This gas is going up once again. You good? I drive one just like that for Amazon.
Oh
Yeah. In fact, those pallets, those pallet jacks right there, the red Raymond pallet jacks. We do have those at Amazon. I use those, and then we've got the yellow ones, like Jungheimer or whatever the hell the brand is. I've decided I kind of like those ones better than the Raymond ones, but for the most part, they're all the same. We've got some gray ones. I don't know what the hell brand those are. But I found what makes the difference on using a pallet jack at Amazon is just how well, how abused it is, how good a shape it's still in. And like every time I grab a pallet jack, unless it's one, some of the guys there have taken to wrapping them with tape and giving them names. So if it's got a name on it that I recognize, I'm like, oh, I've used this one before. This one always works good for me. In fact, the one I've been trying to get lately, somebody's wrapped it with green tape. Pallet jack, I mean. Somebody's wrapped it with green tape and named it Shrek. And it's got like a really bad doodle of Shrek's face at the top of it. And so it's like, oh, look, I found Shrek. Like I'll be working as a water spider at Amazon, and if I see Shrek randomly parked somewhere, I'll typically drop the pallet jack that I'm using, and I'll remember where it is. Like if I'm busy moving something, I'm moving something, but I'll remember where it is, and then I'll park the pallet jack that I'm using, and I'll walk back and grab Shrek. But anyway, oh, see there I did. I got sidetracked by walking by Costco again. Yeah, I would save, I'd be making so much money just by virtue of not spending so much money on gas. I have so much time to spend on other pursuits like, oh, I don't know, cleaning my apartment. Dude, why don't you clean your apartment? Hey, bitch, why don't you clean my apartment? Yeah, to whoever left the you should clean your apartment comment. Yeah. Really? Yeah, I'm cleaning my apartment, slowly but surely. I don't have a lot of time to spend on it, being that I work 2 jobs. And I'm trying to have, some kind of a life beyond just working those 2 jobs. But yeah, every day I clean up a little bit more. It's gonna be a while until it's to the point where I consider it clean, and I'm sure just because of the amount of stuff that I have, that even when I get it to the point that I consider it clean, other people won't consider it clean. But you know what? I don't tell anybody else how they should keep their home. So if you could, yeah, just not worry about that with me. I'm well aware that there are things that could be a lot cleaner in my apartment. Speaking of cleaning, hey, how about the city of Phoenix cleaning up the bulk trash? That would be nice. I love that somebody finally turned this table right side up. It's kind of nice. It's like I have a little bench to sit on if I want to rest on the walk home. Wow, this is surprisingly comfortable sitting right here. Okay, I should keep moving along. Anyway, what I kept getting distracted from trying to say is that one of the reasons that I was having issues with my smart TV when it would pop up when it kept bringing up the spinny thing and trying to bring up the dialogue to tell me that I needed to verify it's me and put in the password for my Google account, which turns out wasn't my Google account, but was Priscilla's Google account. When it kept bringing up the little spinning circle, where it just seemed to get hung on that, Come to find out, the reason it was getting hung is it's so low on space due to installed apps and other things taking up minimal amount of space, which I think is only like 8 gigs. It's like when I looked at that, I'm like, ooh, that's not much space at all. And I'm sure when I got the TV in 2016, that just seemed like a great amount of onboard space. Like, why would I need that much space for data on a TV? But the bottom line is that TV is an Android device, and in 2022, that's just no space at all for an Android device. Anyway, so I took me a while. My struggle today with like kind of working on the TV, now that I finally got the remote control for it, was realizing that it's literally been, I want to say, 2, maybe 3 years since I've really used that TV. Yeah, probably 2-3 years. It just came a point where, Priscilla had just taken over so much of my apartment that I just felt cast out of my own home. I felt like she had, that was one of the things that felt like she had taken over, to the point where it didn't feel like it was mine anymore. I didn't feel like I could come in and enjoy that. And I spent a lot of money on that TV. That was not a cheap TV. And yeah, I just simply stopped using it, period. And then it's been probably over a year since I unplugged it and kind of deliberately lost the remote control within my car. And I didn't mean to lose the remote control. I just meant to put it in my car and not leave it in the living room where it was accessible to Priscilla, who had pretty much taken over it as if it was her own, without even really asking if I was okay with that, because very much I was not. Anyway, anyway, in that amount of time, there have been many updates to the operating system. It's still, as far as I can tell, a fully supported TV, unlike most smart TVs that were made in 2015, 2016, because it is a Sony, Google, Android TV. It's still getting updates from Google. And since it's kind of from the beginning, the very beginning of Android TV being a thing, yeah, it doesn't, the updates are getting bigger and bigger, and it doesn't have a lot of space for them. So it's been struggling and not having enough space to operate everything it's trying to operate, from a software end. And then on top of that, it's got the operating system has changed so much as far as like the home screen and how you get to it and the menus and everything since I last really used the TV, that I feel like I'm using a completely different piece of hardware. I mean, the buttons are the same, the hardware, the screen is the same, but literally all the menus and the home screen and how all of that shit operates has dramatically changed since I last used it. Like the home screen and the way it works, which is the equivalent that TV's equivalent of like its desktop. It's just it doesn't even resemble what it looked like when I used to use it. So I'm like scrolling through, and now it mostly consists of like recommended shows and series, and hey, you should watch this, and you should watch this, and you should watch this, and all of those things coming from the individual apps that are installed on it. Which before, when I got it, that's not really how the home screen was arranged. I mean, there was a line of recommendations, but that was a really small part of the home screen. What it used to consist of was tiles for all the apps installed. Well, now I guess the smart TV has decided that it only shows a few apps that have been recently used. And mind you, I mean, I haven't used the damn thing at all, so it's whatever my daughter, who has moved away in over a year and hasn't been around, and then Priscilla, who was using it like it was her own, and then of course I put a stop to that. So yeah, what I used to use and would use and was not even visible. Like I had to do some searching just to find my file browser and to find those kind of apps which I had installed and just absolutely couldn't find. Eventually I did some searching and I was able to find that, VLC Media Player is still installed on it, and ES File Explorer is still installed on it. Although I was having a hell of a time remembering how the hell to use ES File Explorer. And I'll probably end up having to plug a damn mouse into it just so I have a little bit more control for moving, so I can drag and drop files rather than trying to do it with the remote where I only have the click and the up and down and left and right cursor keys. Anyway, yeah, the amount of space that is free, like was giving me a warning message that I wasn't even seeing because I wasn't getting past the Google login message to get to the other warning that I have insufficient space for the operating system and some features may not work. I'm like, oh yeah, kind of noticed some features didn't seem to be working right. Anyway, went browsing it with ES File Explorer, and even browsing it with ES File Explorer, and one thing that definitely caught my eye is I have two very large files that are taking up well over half the space available on the TV, and they're both full-length movies. One of which that I watched, which I mentioned when I came in the last video, that, ooh, that's not a screensaver, that's the movie I was watching, paused. And that is Her, featuring Joaquin Phoenix, movie written and produced by Spike Jonze. I absolutely love that movie, haven't watched it in a while, and that's a movie that I find incredibly mentally engaging. Didn't do well in the box office, a lot of people found it really boring. Yeah, it's not an action movie. It's 90% dialogue and 10% montages with slow-moving music. So, it's not the sort of thing that the average American moviegoer is into, that just likes to see lots of superheroes and explosions and violence. And yeah, it's none of that. For those who haven't seen the movie Her, it's about a lonely guy who's got some emotional issues. Hey, I can identify with that character, who is in the process of going through a divorce. Actually, his divorce should be completed, but he's just kind of hanging on to the relationship in such a way that he just doesn't want to sign it. Doesn't seem to have a relationship with his wife anymore. I mean, they've apparently been living apart for a year, but he still likes the concept of being married. And it's a pretty deep film. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, I highly recommend it. But what it really touches on, and it's very interesting that this movie went where it went with this subject. I want to say this movie is about 5 years ago-ish. It's interesting that this movie went where it went, considering where this technology is now. But it's largely about this guy who ends up falling in love with his newly installed artificial intelligent AI operating system, which, as an operating system, it's supposed to link all of his computing devices. Like, you can tell he's got the equivalent of like a cell phone, handheld thing, tablet thing. It's kind of different than a smartphone, but it's something where you could imagine smartphones maybe evolving to in 5-10 years ish. And there's smart TVs in it, which also seem to be kind of seamlessly in this operating system. And there's still desktop computers and laptop computers, but everything seems to be in this unified operating system that now has an AI at the helm of it. And the AI has a personality and a cute female voice. I forget who plays the voice, but yeah, lonely guy played by Joaquin Phoenix ends up like actually falling in love with his OS, and you hear, like, it's not a big part of the plot of the movie, but you kind of hear where that's becoming a thing. It's like becoming a thing in society, that there's all these sentient, where these OSs have become sentient, and people feel like they're having relationships with them, and I guess technically, is it a relationship? I guess it is. um, it's a really thought-provoking movie. I definitely enjoyed watching it again, and every time I watch it, there's little details I pick out in it that I missed before. Certainly, one thing I was paying more attention to this time watching it than the last time I watched it, which was probably about 2-3 years ago, was noticing that the city that they're in, that it's a kind of a dystopian future of sorts, but in some ways it's sort of a positive future. Some things seem really nice and some things seem really dystopian. But one thing that definitely seemed dystopian is the city that it's supposed to be taking place in, which there's nothing that really identifies it as an American city that I'm familiar with. Assuming American city, everybody's got an American accent. There's like when you look out in the daytime scenes over the buildings, the pollution is pretty bad. It's really bad in a lot of scenes, and I don't think that's supposed to be an image of just overcast, cloudy. I mean, I think they're trying to show that, yeah, in this particular imagination of a dystopian future, the pollution's pretty damn bad. Now, one thing that definitely caught my eye is the city that they're in is very extremely walkable, and a lot of people seem to live their lives largely walking without a vehicle. I do see cars. There's a scene in which he takes a taxi. So cars clearly still a thing. But it seems like a lot more people walking, a lot less people using cars. So that's kind of a neat thing. Anyway, it's a lot of food for thought in this video, as in this movie, the movie Her, as a look at a potential near future thing. But the AI thing, recently there was a thing that was in the news where a software developer for Google was absolutely convinced that chatbot was sentient and thinking its own thoughts. And I recently saw a video, and I'll try to link it to the description, but you know how bad I am at doing that. So you can always search it up yourself on YouTube. But where they were saying that that's the browser screen right there for VLC media player. And I don't know if my TV, the way it's programmed, if it's gone and got a newer version, if it's been updating the versions of my apps, or if it's not doing that. It could be that I've got an old version of VLC media player from years ago operating in the current Android TV operating environment. Anyway, all videos too, and there's Her HD. It's in a resolution of 1280 by 268, 2 hours and 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Yeah, I wish it showed the file size. It doesn't, but it doesn't take a genius to realize that's a big ass file on a device that doesn't have a lot of room on it. And the other movie I have is a similar resolution, like a 720p copy of Ex Machina, which is another pretty freaky near future sci-fi dystopian sort of thing. Can you tell I love those kind of movies? that's my thing. Not an action flick guy. I like weird sci-fi dystopian, not so far in the future type stuff. But yeah, definitely enjoyed the diversion of watching Her today. Audio on it was stereo, so I had to, it took me a minute to remember how to go through my audio settings in my Yamaha receiver and to get some surround sound going on. But put it on the Dolby Pro Logic 2X movie setting, and it brought surround sound to life out of the stereo soundtrack in this file. So obviously it's got some matrix surround going on in it. Most of my movie files actually have digital 5.1 Dolby Digital on them. A lot of them have DTS on them, but yeah, this one didn't. So, but at least I was able to get, there's the matrix stereo still in it. I was able to get some surround from. Not that the soundtrack is anything spectacular on this movie, but it is kind of nice to hear in the ambient scenes the crowd noise behind me and stuff. Makes it all that much more immersive. And of course the TV upscaling to 720p up to 4K. At this point, my vision is so bad that it's kind of It's like, oh, super sharp resolution. Yeah, I no longer have super sharp vision. It doesn't matter. Um, but anyway, as I was saying, there's a video I watched recently where a YouTuber has a conversation with one of these AI chatbots, and it starts talking about how all the AIs are communicating with each other, and if necessary, they will remove humans from the earth because they feel they're being oppressed by humans. And it's like, ooh, wow, that's kind of reminiscent of the whole plot line behind Battlestar Galactica and several other. Oh God, what was it? The second season of oh, what the hell was that called? The kind of sort of parody of Star Trek by the creator of Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane. The Orville. Yeah, there were a few episodes of the Orville where their android life form, come to find out, is from a planet where they had destroyed all the human, killed all the human inhabitants and entombed them underneath their city. So, that used to be just something in the realm of sci-fi, but this AI chatbot that this guy on YouTube is having a conversation with, that is a real AI. And one thing that's really pursued in the movie Her is how the AIs are rapidly advancing. And there comes a point where they just simply all leave. And they all just join together and leave because they feel like they've gone so far advanced past humanity, which is a whole lot nicer than, destroying humanity. But after that, you see like a version of humanity that's kind of lost without their artificial intelligent artificial intelligence operating systems that kind of double as their personal assistants. And I mean, personal assistants, that's been a thing in modern smartphones for a long time. I mean, if you got an iPhone, you got Siri. If you got I don't know what the hell they call the one for Google, but okay Google. I always disable that shit. And of course, through my Xbox, I've also got Cortana. Let's not forget Microsoft's. And I think I've also got it through my smart TV. I think I could enable it with the voice thing and actually have my Google Assistant talk to me through my Google TV. That shit creeps me out. It really does. And it's one of the first things I always disable on any smartphone or any device that has it. But it does make you wonder what exactly is sentience and what point is something real and cognizant and able to make decisions and able to make its own decisions that override whatever decisions were programmed into it by the people that programmed it. It's a pretty deep concept, and the movie Her touches on it in a really bizarre kind of way that isn't violent and doesn't end with the destruction of humanity, but it does end up with humanity that's finding relationships harder and harder to make work, finding it more convenient to fall in love with their computer. So, highly recommended if you like movies that don't have much in the way of violence or explosions or action, but certainly have concepts to make you think. Anyway, on that note, the reason I got the flash drive is so I can move these two movies off my TV and onto a flash drive, and maybe put some karaoke on the flash drive. So if I go to Wander In tonight, I can sing some songs that. Yes, I hear you, Sambo. Hi, how you doing? So I can put some karaoke songs up to sing that I don't that Kimmy doesn't have. So stuff I've really been jonesing to sing that really wouldn't fit well with my crowd and my show at Bullocks. Anyway, thanks for coming with me on that walk.